franchisee that owned another lamppost in Corona, and his video game guy, the guy that sourced all his games and stuff, was a home brewer. And together they built a brewery at that Corona. Now that Corona lamppost location is a franchise, so they were loosely tied together. But it was a huge success. Well, that location's on Main Street in Corona, so they called it Main Street Brewery. So then when my dad and my uncle were doing our brewery, we wanted to keep it somewhat similar, just kind of follow their theme, but a different name. And they came out with Backstreet Brewery. And the Backstreet Boys became popular, and I'm pretty over that correlation, but it is what it is. Well, what got me into craft beer is I was a senior in high school and my parents bought a brewery, so that was pretty cool. No, they built a brew pub. So we had a restaurant, Lamppost Pizza, and the suite next to us came available. This was 1998, and my dad and my uncle are partners together in the business, and they kind of caught wind of this craft beer local brewery craze and took over the suite. Knew nothing about brewing, hired the right people, and built a little brew pub in Irvine. The one that we initially started at in Irvine is now just the restaurant and a tasting room. We pulled the equipment out, moved it here. So this is our basically warehouse production brewery. And then we have another facility in San Diego, North County, in the city of Vista. That's a restaurant, brewery, full bar.
What was the first batch of beer that your father and your uncle made?
The Rita Red Ale. We still got it on tap, and the recipes remained unchanged. So the guy that installed this equipment originally, this is the same brew house we had there, so it's 21 years old. And the guy that installed it brewed that first batch for us, and we loved it. It was a big hit. The Rita Red Ales remained unchanged, been around ever since. It's still one of our best movers.
2011, I was working for a sticker manufacturer. I got laid off. I like to say I got promoted to stay-at-home dad. And I was going crazy. The stay-at-home dad life was not for me. So I petitioned, at the time, every brewery in Orange County. I sent resume, cover letter. The cover letter said something like, "I will clean your bathrooms daily if you just teach me how to brew." And at the time, Beach City was opening up in Huntington Beach, and off of a tweet, they hired me, which is
they
silly.
Needed the bathroom cleaner?
I guess I never once had to clean their bathroom. They just said, "You're hired." And so I got my start in Huntington Beach at Beach City Brewery, and I've been to a few breweries in between before landing here, and I've been here the longest. I've been going on 3.5 years.
What was your first batch of beer that you helped out with?
I brewed a Hefeweizen, was my first ever in production brewing. The first beer I brewed here, where I started the recipe front to back, I think was the Heather Scotch Ale, right? Yeah, which we're about to do again next week. So,
oh, nice.
And that's actually my wife's name is Heather, and she's got some Scottish ancestry, so it was a tribute beer to my wife because she makes the big bucks and I get to work in beer.
So, where do you draw inspiration from whenever it comes to making a new recipe or
his wife? You heard that about the Heather Ale, right?
It's all my wife. I have no other inspirations. I love drinking IPAs. I love brewing with English yeasts and Maris Otter. I love it. That is a base malt. There's just something fun about brewing English beers for me. A little bit of roasty. I think I should be living somewhere up in Seattle area, a little bit colder weather, because that's what I love to brew, is that style. And if I was, I drink according to the weather, so that's why I'm drinking a light beer. It's Southern California.
It's a beautiful day out.
But I love an excuse to drink a good roasty, stout or dark English ale.
I'm an IPA guy. If I'm out, I'm looking for any new IPA I've never tried before. Sounds like he likes to experiment with malt, and I like to experiment with hops.
Great combination.
It is.
At the end of the day, we want something for everybody. Whether you're an IPA guy, whether you like your malty red ales or stouts or seltzers.
As you can see, some of us reluctantly brewed.
Yeah. Is this your first time coming to this brewery?
No, I've been here a good 30, 40 times. Yeah.
And what keeps you coming back?
It's local, I like it, and the beer is really good. You could go to a big brewery and be yelling to your person right next to you, but you can also come here, have better beer, and just really relax more than anything.
Thought about going to Golden Road, but a little more, a lot going on, you know, and we come here all the time, really like the beers. The Blood Orange, it's the whole reason why I come back, you know, that Blood Orange, it's a really good one, yeah. I know they got a lot of good double IPAs, even triple IPAs. They got a lot of games over there too, which is cool. And every now and again, they'll throw a show here with some bands, some live music, and that's super fun too.
What are you drinking today?
My usual, which is the Late to the Party Citra, which is an IPA here.
And how would you describe that to someone that has never tried it before?
I would say it's not as bitter as most IPAs that people think, which are usually bitter. Like my dad doesn't like IPAs personally because he says they're super bitter, but I think this is super light for a person that's just coming onto the IPAs.
So how important was it for you to have a brewery that you can call home that represents Anaheim?
For me, that's really important just because, Backstreet here makes me feel at home, makes me feel comfortable. I don't feel like I'm left out and stuff like that here that make me feel like I'm right at home, just like being amongst friends.
You guys are pretty much down the street from Angel Stadium. You have Disneyland, a few exits down. Do you guys get a large sports following that stop by? Do you guys have a lot of connections with that kind of crowd?
Yeah, well, okay, so Angel Stadium is our closest one and it's walking distance, so we definitely get our biggest crowd there. Definitely pre-gamers. You can tell when it's a good series, and you can tell when the season's halfway through and they're under 500 and kind of not really in the playoff picture. We can see a big difference in our attendance here. And then Disney, we'll get some like out-of-towners that are just Googling like nearest breweries and just getting away from the
dads who are just over it.
Yeah,
just want a beer that
I need an hour for myself. So, but the biggest thing we've had there is we have made a few beers that have been sold in the park in California Adventure, and now we private label the Animation IPA for Disney. Disney has just been the greatest thing ever.
That's awesome.
We lucked into it. The head of purchasing was Disney was doing a 5K marathon or a half marathon or something, and the head of purchasing's wife was running in it, and he was following her on his bike, and he saw a sign that said brewery with an arrow, came riding by, like took a picture of our sign, Googled it, reached out to us, brought our beer in for a special event, and then liked it so much they wanted to do something that they could private label. So they were going to do something that we already had available and just kind of put their name on it. But the beer they liked the best was our single hop mosaic Imperial IPA, but they wanted a single IPA version of it and asked me if I could make one for them. And I said, yeah, no problem. And so I made it for them, and I think still to this date, it's the best beer we've ever put out.
For sure.
And it probably overall accounts for more than half of our production, maybe even 2/3 of our production total is that beer.
So gentlemen, please take us on a tour.
So let's start with the seltzer. We're going to start with our lightest one. So this, obviously it's the fat. It checks all the marks, low calorie, gluten-free. So it, low ABV. So it's just something not necessarily for our customers. It's for like a guest of one of our customers might be seeking out this, might not want beer, so like we said, we want to have something for everybody that comes in. But it's basically just sugar water. Fermented sugar water is really, it is. But to get the right sugar and the right water and the right fermentation, you got to do some extra steps that there's a little trial and error that happened on our end. But we, I did a lot of research. I asked a lot of questions. And our yeast provider, White Labs, was able to help us out big time with it. If you expect it to taste like a beer and you go and you try one of this, you're going to probably be disappointed because that's not what it is.
For sure.
So,
All right. I'm going to dive
yeah.
on in if you're all cool.
go for taste it.
Cheers
And
to
then,
you both.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you, master drinkers.
And then, yeah, I mean, you're
That's
input on it.
exactly.
I mean,
that's exactly what you said it was. I mean, if you're trying to hide the alcohol, you did a great job doing that. It is absolutely
it's in
no
there.
hint at all. Yeah,
It's
is it
crushable.
5%? Is it 5%?
5%.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I can knock 7 of those back without even
The
batting an
Mexican
eye.
lager is also 5%.
You can tell who's not a fan of the. You're not going to see Bob sitting by the pool drinking a seltzer water. That's
Wanted to contribute.
Give us a rundown on the Mexican lager here, and what was the inspiration behind it as well?
Is that me? Am I up?
go. Oh, I've been talking. I'm sick of hearing myself talk. I'm sure people are sick of
I
hearing
like the sound of your voice, Timmy.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, so this is a second version. We did a dark Mexican lager before, and we just liked it. It was crushable. We really wanted that Modelo Negro beer, and that's what we were going for. No, I think the original nailed it, and then we just decided to pull the color out and just go with a regular, just a regular Mexican lager, something crushable. I love clear beers. The aesthetic of clear beers, to me, it just feels good. It's what I want in my hand, and I think it's sort of, with the haze craze, it kind of the pendulum swings a little bit, and it's an answer to those people who want something that's just light and crushable, as opposed to something that's thick in your mouth, the mouthfeel. So we threw it on just to kind of see who would drink it, and it became quickly a very popular beer for us, particularly in the summertime when it's a little bit warmer. I drink it all year round. And now Disney wants to take it on for their festival, so that sort of lends to the fact that I think we did something right.
It's got some corn base. It's got a Mexican lager yeast. It's got some 6-row malt in it. So it's the
very
corn that
refreshing.
really, is noticeable.
Very refreshing.
So it adds that flavor.
I wouldn't even throw a lime in that. I always thought that throwing limes in Coronas used to kind of take away that skunky taste that you get. You don't get that skunky taste at all with that beer there.
Right.
That is a very well-made Mexican lager.
So this one is in California Adventure. I believe it's served outside of the Animation Theater, right?
Yeah.
Is that where the name comes from?
Yeah.
So that's why they went with that name. All Mosaic IPA, which is just a rad hop. If you're only going to use one hop in an IPA, it's a fun one to do. And it's just crushable, basic IPA with Mosaic.
Light body, clear.
Light, clear, yeah. All the things. I feel like that sort of West Coast IPA trend, and all those people that sort of went to the hazies. This is, if you're still want the nostalgia for a good, crisp, clean IPA, which is definitely what I like. This is that beer.
No, that's perfect. 6.5%. I mean, I can knock a few of those back and still maintain a conversation without slurring my words.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. That is a damn good beer, sir. Well done on that one.
Thank you.
Moving on.
So yeah, we just had our 21st anniversary,
That's what it was. Okay.
and we wanted to brew a tribute beer for it, and we were just trying to figure out what we were going to do. I think Bob wanted to do some sort of session IPA or
I don't
something.
remember. It was probably an IPA.
Probably some sort of IPA of some sort. But I just felt like it needed to have some deeper meaning, being an anniversary beer. So I was just kind of thinking back to the beers that we had on and that were really popular, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And ESBs were actually one of our better sellers back then. And so luckily we keep logs of everything we brew. So I, went back, found our SB, and we brewed it, and I'm happy with the way it came out. It's going to be, hoppy like an IPA, maybe a little bit more bittering hops, less aroma, but also have a decent malt body too. And then we originally we brewed it for CO2, but then we had our a nitro line come available, and our tasting room manager Britt was wanting us to put something on there until our new batch of stout was ready. So we just degassed one of our kegs, and then here we are. We just did a nitro version of it, just having some fun.
I'm excited to try it out. So we'll go ahead and dive into this one here.
Yeah.
All right, excited to give it a shot.
Sure.
You're right on the money with that one. Very smooth. The CO2 obviously gives it more of like a silky taste to it.
come support Bob in the Cigar Social.
Come smoke a cigar with me.
He's been trying to get me to do it for about 3 years, and then finally when Britt comes in to run our tasting room, I think the next month, he talked her into doing it, and she executed it. So, which is also the whole reason why she's here, is because she actually gets things done instead of me just, I'll get to it, never getting around to it because my head's on production.
Oh, for sure.
But that's why I need someone like her here to help me there. And then I need Bob here to keep us on track here, because I'm not capable of putting in all the hard work that Bob does. So.
Stick to our strengths.
You gotta just surround yourself with good people. That's what you do.
This place hadn't gotten, much love in a while, and so it just needed that. It needed a little TLC. It needed a fresh eye, I think, and just someone whose sole job it was to just put all of their energy into making this the perfect place. Besides just making our beer, we do a lot of contract brewing, and Tim and Bob are really busy on that side, and so it is my job to take care of everything else. And I absolutely love my job. I love my job. I love it here. I love Tim and Bob. They are the most incredible people I've ever worked with. It just feels amazing to work somewhere where I feel totally supported and encouraged, and there isn't much that I can't go to Tim with and be like, hey, I want this or that, and him not give me what I want. So he trusts me, and it's been a wild ride. I got here at the beginning of July last year. In the beginning, it was much more just seeing people sitting around, maybe talking and stuff like that, and now it's not like that anymore. People are playing games, they're playing cornhole, I hear Jenga fall and loud laughs, and hearing that and seeing this place packed on a Friday night, I can't even tell you how happy that makes me.
That's awesome.
Just seeing what I knew this place could be with just a little bit of love, just seeing it work has been amazing. I did redo the tabletops. These aren't the original ones that we redid. Just redid these again because I wanted to add. I really wanted to.
Is that your idea?
It was, yeah. Threw it by him, and he said, "Hell yeah!" And so we did it, and it matches the colors on for our logo.
Since you've been involved, have you noticed a positive feedback from all the locals that have been coming in, or some of the people that are coming in for the first time?
Yeah. Oh, big time. We we have awesome regulars that have stuck it through, and they say all the time how much they love the changes, and they loved it before and they love it now. So that's been really cool. The new people that we get, that whole experience has been awesome. Having people come in who just have a great time, and overhearing them say, "I'm coming back," has been really nice. And then we've definitely picked up people who got our group on and came in just for one day, and now they become our regulars. So that's been really awesome. The feedback of people coming in is they want to come back.
Throughout the week, what days do viewers, our viewers specifically, have something to look forward to? Like certain days of the week, you always catch certain events going on or anything like that?
So one of the things that I really utilized in coming here was doing events. I've tried a lot of different ones over these last couple months, even did a beer speed dating, which was actually so much fun, and it was a popular event and people had a blast, and it was just kind of coming up with different ideas of what fun things would be. Over the months, I've definitely kind of fine-tuned and figured out the exact events that really seem to resonate with people. Gotcha. You always have your trivia, which is going to be good, but we utilize the Cigar Social, and I do quite a few events every month. I do a game night, a bingo night. We have trivia, Cigar Social. We host a cornhole tournament. For a while I was doing an Uno tournament, and now we broadened that out because our game section has gotten a lot bigger, so we just turned that into a whole game night. Tonight is date night. I have a Puppers and Pints day where it's bring your dog to the brewery.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Can you elaborate on that?
I set up like a whole treat bar, so you can come pick out treats. There's tons of toys for the dogs. It's just treat your dog.
Yeah,
bring them,
sure.
and they run around and play together, and it's really, really fun. We have a really awesome area that is just really welcoming to everyone, and more every day, every weekend, I just see us getting more full, more packed, and people are happy and they're having fun, and you see them coming back, and it tells me that I'm doing something right, and we're on the right track, and we already had the beer.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's
the
just
quality's
adding,
there.
Yeah, the quality's
It's just
there.
making the atmosphere to
Yeah.
match the quality of
Exactly.
the beer. You guys have any fun beers like in the works as of now that some of our viewers can look forward to here in the summer of 2020?
So we do a lot of contract stuff, and so this week we did a contract cold brew. So after we canned that off, we took the coffee that was in that tank and we brewed a stout on top of what was originally cold.
We just left it in there.
Just left it in there. Left the bags hanging. So we're gonna have a imperial coffee stout that is just gonna be resting. That coffee's gonna be resting in there during the whole thing.
And it's got like 700 pounds of coffee in
Yeah.
that 10-barrel tank.
Yeah.
Now, we've already stripped a lot of the coffee out of it when we did this cold brew, but we thought it'd be fun to just leave them in there and brew a stout into it and see what happens.
Good move.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
gonna be awesome.
So that'll about what 4 weeks or so that should
Okay.
be on, maybe a little bit sooner.
So late February is kind of what you guys
Yeah.
are eyeballing?
Yeah, it should be good.
Thereabouts, yeah. So that'll be fun. And then, so another, we talked a little bit about the Heather Scotch Ale. That'll be around. That's a bigger ABV. I'm looking for an 8 or 9%, so a little bit higher for what a normal wee heavy Scotch Ale would be. And it's gonna be bittered with the heather flower. And we're also gonna do a Pink Boots brew, an IPA coming out here soon.
You don't even know about this, do you?
Yes,
No, I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Britt in the brew house, our tasting room manager, and we're gonna rock that. We're gonna do it's a single malt and the single hop though, the Pink Boots hop that they released, which is gonna be a rad hop.
And they donate part of the proceeds
Yeah.
to support women in brewing.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing. We always want to be supportive of that.
So actually right now we've got some rad beers. Like in the next few weeks, this place is gonna be flush with new, fresh beers. We'll still have our mainstays.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a really rad menu.